Everybody's body has a resonant vibration that can provide detailed information about the health of the individual. So the logical next step then was to develop a way to interpret that vibration so we could gather useful information. So over the past century, there's been an evolution of the various processes used for gathering information from the different energies emitted by the body. And in our modern rendition that we have named Biofield Testing, we use the soup of the human energy field as the source of our muscle response testing information. But this is a relatively recent development. Each of the pioneers of muscle testing that I will discuss had their own way of describing their process and their stated source of the information, which has been the largest variable that has separated one muscle testing technique from another. Dr. Robert Lovett, who was a medical doctor early in the 20th century, developed the earliest manual muscle testing procedure to better understand muscle weakness in people suffering from polio. He published the very first peer-reviewed paper on manual muscle testing in the Journal of the American Medical Association. Dr. Frank Chapman was an osteopath, and in 1920, he created a map of neurolymphatic reflex points that would be part of an analytical process. Dr. George Goodhart, a chiropractor, expanded the concept of manual muscle testing to uncover other physical, chemical, and emotional disturbances. He developed applied kinesiology, the first muscle response test in common usage. Goodhart's intention was to draw information from the body. Doing a complete test analysis was very time-consuming. This required testing over 100 different muscles. Dr. Dick Versendahl was a chiropractor who studied under Dr. Goodhart. He developed contact reflex analysis. The method had the practitioner apply a single downward push on the wrist of the patient's outstretched arm while they were contacting a specific reflex point. Dr. Versendahl's concept of using acupuncture points to represent the organs and glands rather than the corresponding muscles made the nutritional analysis much more practical because it was much less time-consuming. However, it required the various points of the body to be probed by the practitioner during the procedure, which some patients objected to. Since neurogenic switching was of minimal focus in his system, there were many cases that responded well, but there were many cases that did not. And another popular muscle response testing technique in the 1980s was developed by Dr. Dietrich Klinghart, which he called Autonomic Response Technique, or ART, which I also studied. The goal of Autonomic Response Technique was to discover environmental variables that were disrupting normal autonomic nervous system function and to eliminate them from the patient's environment and provide the proper nutritional support. Dr. Klinghart applied pressure over certain reflex areas. Over the past 2 decades, Biofield Testing's unique method of testing the soup, that is the biofield, is what sets us apart, and it's also less invasive because we primarily work out in the space close to the body but not on the body, so it avoids the probing some patients objected to. By testing the biofield for our information gathering using our proprietary test vials and procedures that ask the right question in the right order, using the right informational medium, we've been able to further advance this quantum science of muscle response testing.